That's it. Yeah. That's it. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh. And his only begotten Son, Bahashem, and the name of Mashiach Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient covenant Hebrew, the Lashon whole tongue. I say, rock done to the elders and apostles, where I can I say Shalom. And this is a prophecy updates as of June 30th, 2025 on Monday. And this is a news article from RT.com as June 29th, 2025 reads. It says protesters in Belgrade calls for a civil war, Serbian parliamentary speaker. And Beck has claimed that the organizers of an anti-government demonstration want to destroy the country. And it says protesters clash with police in Belgrade, Serbia, as of June 28, 2025. The speaker of the Serbian parliamentary and Beck has accused the anti-government protesters in Belgrade calls for a civil war after a student-led rally escalated into a clash with police. It says the latest unrest erupted on Saturday after authorities rejected an ultimatum from demonstrators demanding the dissolution of the preliminary early elections. The protest concluded with the Vakdavan, a national holiday, marks Serbia's 1380-man battle against the Ottoman Empire at Kosovo Field. In a post, on ex-Brnovik, who served as a prime minister from 2017 to 2024, shared a video from the protest quotes of moments in which a organizer tells the crowd to take freedom in your own hands. It said they in the gathering about shouting long live Serbia. They ended in with a chilling call to murder in Serbia, a monstrous and open call for civil war. Barnabas wrote in a separate post. She accused neighboring Croatia of backing the unrest in an effort to unseat President Aleksandar Vučić. In a ways, the protest has crippled Serbia since the deadly collapse of a concentrated camp at a railway station in Novi Sad last November, which killed 16 people and triggered widespread public outrage and calls for accountability. Saturday's demonstration began peacefully but turned violent in the evening when some protesters began to throw eggs, bottles, and objects at police near a downtown park where government supporters were holding a vigil. Officials responded with pepper spray and riot shields and dispersed the crowd. It says Internal Minister Abek Daka said 6 officers and 2 civilians were injured and a dozen Hoglands were arrested. Speaking earlier at the Vardaman ceremony, Vučić, who was repeatedly claimed that the protests are beginning to instigate by foreign actors, call for national unity and urge restraint. Serbia always wins in the end, he wrote on social media. This is the book of Luke 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, which scorches nations with perplexity of one. Right, because you have citizens clashing against their leaders in power due to hierarchical creeds how the country is being run, throughout the years, generations, and that's what we're seeing uptick of as people move on. We're seeing nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And we're seeing the citizens rising against their leaders and rising against their leaders around the world in protests. That's what we're seeing. This is the book of St. Mark, chapter 3, verse 24, that reads, it says, and if a kingdom be divided itself, it cannot stand. Why? So we see in modern day kingdoms being divided, which cannot stand, which we're seeing, and so it tends to increase. St. Mark, chapter 3, verse 25 reads, and if a house be divided itself, the house cannot stand. Why? So both opposing sides being divided against itself, which cannot stand. And that's what we're seeing. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, and in verse 1. A time for everything. It says to everything. Huh. Yeah, true. Right. All right, mom. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 1. To everything that is in season, and the time of every purpose in heaven. Why? So we're living in modern day biblical signs, and every time and season, every purpose in heaven, which is modern day biblical signs and signs of times. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 8. It says, in the times of love, in the time of HATE, in the time of war, in the time of peace. Why? So we're definitely living in the time of HATE, and we're living in the time of war as well, too, which is going to continue to increase, especially on an everyday basis. We see in modern day wars, rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And we're seeing the HATE, long list of iniquities are building up and increasing on an everyday basis. So we're definitely living in those modern days of time season, every purpose in heaven, which is modern day biblical signs and signs of times. It says Russia launches a massive strike on Ukrainian defense industry in Nordic reports that Kremlin hypersonic missiles and drones were used in an overnight attack, according to the military. And this was published on June 29, 2025 from RT.com. And it says again, Russia launched a massive strike on Ukrainian defense industry. As we see, the tensions between Russia and Ukraine is intensifying. It says Russian forces carry out a large-scale overnight strike on Ukrainian industrial facilities involving a long-range weapons and drones. The defense ministry in Moscow reported on Sunday that Ukrainian authorities and media confirmed the attack, which some suggest that one of the largest since the escalations of the conflict in 2022. It says in a statement reporting the operation, Russian Defense Ministry says that its forces had conducted a massive strike involving a high-precision, long-range air, sea, and land-based weapons, including the aerial ballistic, hypersonic, missile systems, as well as the unmanned aerial vehicles targeting the Ukrainian military, industrial, and oil processing facilities. It says the ministry still didn't provide any further details, but stated that the strike's goal were achieved and all design charges were hit. Ukrainian Vladimir Zelensky informed that the attack in a post Telegram claimed that 477 explosives, loaded drones, and 60 missiles of various types. He used the occasion to once again call in Kyrie's Western backers to prove it is one of air defense systems. Zelensky also revealed that Kyrie lost a Western supply F-16 fighter jets while attempting to fend off the attack, with Beverly perished in the incident. Meanwhile, the in a post-action plan MP, Mary Yanya Basilica accused the country's military leadership of murdering fighter pilots by allegedly falling to develop efforts in the anti-drone protocol. It says, according to the Ukrainian military tally, more than 20 incoming rockets for UAVs made it through the country's air defense during the strike. In a post Facebook, Stephen Crowley, the head of the military administration in the city of the Robotish in the Lviv region in western Ukraine, said that as a result of the air attack, a fire broke out in the industrial infrastructure facilities. Officials in the region stated that the strikes did not cause any casualties, but it critical infrastructure was hit. It says in Portalia region, an industrial site within the city in Miracle reportedly came under attack. This is while Ukraine officials have not provided any details about the types of facilities hit in the extent of the damage inflicted. Some local media outlets has pointed out there are oil processing plants in both Dorobash and the Kremlin, and that there were likely targets for the strikes. This is social media users have been posting videos proportionally spotting the Russian strikes, the aftermath in Ukrainian regions. This is Ecclesiasticus 3 verse 8. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 8, it says that time to love, and the time of HATE, and that time of war, and time of peace. Watch me definitely in the time of war. As you see those video clips right there, as the tensions are escalating, are heating up between the Russia-Ukraine situation. This has been the heaviest escalation has been heating up ever since Russia invaded Ukraine. As they look at that as a special military operation back then in 2022. Since then, 3.5 years later, in 2025, we definitely see these tensions been escalating, continue to escalate between Russia and Ukraine. And this is the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4. It says, "Now will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and bring thee forth from all thy army, horses, horsemen, all of them, cloth, all sorts of armor, and great company of other shields, while the swords." Right, so we see in Russia in that warlike mindset. That's why we see in the Russia-Ukraine situation is intensifying. So with that, hopefully this sit down lesson was edifying of the prophecy updates. That was in June the 30th, 2025 on Monday. So with that, I want to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bakadash, and the Heavenly Father. That your name is Yahweh, and His Son begotten Son, Bahashem, and the name of Hamashiach Abshai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashwakash tongue. And I say, Barak to the elders and apostles, Wahakim Akbaf, to next time I would say Shalom.